Next Wednesday, Leicestershire County Council will decide upon its budget. The Conservative County Council are proposing to close 24 children's centres and reduce spending on transport for young people and children with special educational needs.
We're making this video today to try and get your support, to try and help us stop some of the most draconian cuts for some of the most vulnerable people in Leicestershire.
We believe these are going to be really harmful cutbacks to some of the most vulnerable people in Leicestershire. That's why we're going to put forward at the meeting as Liberal Democrats a fully costed amendment that would ensure that we kept open the children's centres and kept providing the special educational needs transport.
The children's centres have been put in locations where they are desperately needed. They are fully accessible to parents with small children in buggies. They manage to host the health visitor appointments. They host playgroups, breastfeeding cafes, early help. There's so much that goes on there, and they're just absolutely vital to the communities that they serve.
Yes, at the moment there are 36 children's centres around the county and over 19,000 people have accessed services at these centres over the last year. But the Conservatives want to close 24 of these, which is a dramatic closure rate, and we think it's unacceptable and that children will be harmed by that degree of closure.
There are very definite measurable benefits to those children. For starters, we have evidence that the children are more school prepared, they're more school ready. Their children that live close to children's centres are actually less likely to be obese. But more than that, they gain social skills, they gain the ability to play with large bits of equipment that we can't afford for our own homes or fit in our own homes. And their parents really benefit from finding parental commons with other people to actually get through this huge transition in life that is parenthood. And without that, your mental health really does suffer.
In the Council's own report to members, officers have warned that these cuts carry a high risk, both for all children and particularly vulnerable families, those with very specialist needs. And hundreds of these families will no longer have access to the support and early years service that they need to prevent these children possibly going into care later. The second cut that the Liberal Democrats want to reverse is the cuts to special education needs transport. Many children who have special education needs require transport. It's obvious they can't jump on a bus, they can't jump on a bicycle like most kids to get up to school. They need specialist transport, often to take them to special schools which are spread across the county. The county are proposing to cut this for the youngest children with special needs and the older ones post 16. Well, why should some of the most vulnerable kids have to have these services cut? Surely these are the people that all of us should be helping by providing these services across the county. We think that this spending actually saves money in the long term. If we don't invest in these types of services, we have more costly services later, when we have to intervene with social workers, when we have to take children into care, when we have to foster children. We believe that by investing, we can reduce these costs later on down the line.
On Wednesday we'll be putting forward an amendment which will try and change the worst of these cutbacks to ensure that we keep the children's centres that we need across Leicestershire. Equally, we want to ensure that the special educational needs transport continues for some of the most vulnerable young people in Leicestershire. We put forward a costed amendment, all the money is there. All we need to do is transfer it over from some of the Conservative Council's pet projects, industrial developments, into frontline services. We believe that ensuring that we keep the children's centres open and keep transport for some of the most vulnerable school children in Leicestershire. If we're going to convince the County Council to keep open the children's centres that are threatened with closure and to ensure that we continue to provide transport for some of the most vulnerable young people in in Leicestershire, then we need to convince councillors from all parties to support the amendment on Wednesday. There are a couple of ways in which you can help the campaign. Firstly, please sign one of the petitions. There are 2 petitions being run, 38 Degrees and the Leicestershire Lib Dem councillors are both running petitions. Please sign the petition so that we can have as many people as possible showing that they want the council to change its mind and keep open the children's centres in Leicestershire. Also, please get in contact with your county councillor. Details will be provided on this post so that you can ensure that we get them to vote for this amendment and ensure that we can keep the children's centres open and keep supporting vulnerable young people who need transport to school.
Help us to stop these cuts. These are cuts that damage the educational growth of some of the most vulnerable kids in Leicestershire.